Okay, I've decided to get into more interesting talk tonight than I would usually. I'd plan to at the moment, at least. I'm going to have to postpone the live stream until tomorrow because audio issues. Realtek HD audio manager decided to have a seizure and corrupt my audio drives, so I have to descend into the black cavernous areas of that tomorrow with his flaming sword and slay some monsters. So I was thinking, what should we discuss really quickly? To do something metaphysically productive tonight. It's about 2 in the morning. But yeah, so I'm just gonna talk. I don't want to intellectualize too much. I'm just gonna talk and see what there is to really discuss. Because why not? Let's chill out. You could go like, what have you been contemplating lately? I was going to ramble a little bit about the triadic formula, and how the supernal triadic understanding, in accordance with the Kabbalistic mysteries as well, is so paramount to a true functioning praxis within magic. The critical distinction between the New Aging practices and what people will say the trappings of dualism or holistic dualism, where even the ones who are, I don't know, how would you call it? Not heliocentric. The Gaia, Mother Earth. They tend to be fundamentally uninvolved with deeper truths because of the fact that they are trapped within that dualism. I was going to talk about that for a bit. I thought, you can just tell I'm just not really at the right sort of mind for it. I'm in the more of it. This is more of it. Let's just chill out and let's just talk about whatever kind of mood. Like the stars, like the effortless wisdom in much more simple topics and subjects. It's that kind of thing. Phone a bit closer, so I don't have to shout. Closer. 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 Okay. Let's try this. What's the most interesting thing that's been happening in your life lately? What is the one thing that you would say has occurred in the past 2 weeks? No. Month. There it is. Yes, the past month. What is the most interesting or perplexing or curious thing that has occurred in the past month for you? What has brought your soul to surface, or to speak? I think we pay so much mind to silence, but I believe we should pay as much courtesy and due diligence to that which brings our soul to speak, to say something to ourselves. The inner voice. I think as much meditative contemplation and study should be placed upon that subject, because we are its subject. We are the reason why its existence, and for its existence we are for its purposes. Without true motivation and meaning in our life, without that stellar beauty that connects us to all things, when we connect to innocence, even, like our childhood light. I've talked about this before. There isn't even a point in saying if without this, because this is the problem with philosophy, okay? Or some of it that would aim to get you closer to a point of thinking or contemplation actually detracts from that object, the important thing you're trying to talk about, because we just end up people make the same mistake. We ascribe labels to things that are designedly not suited for them or not needed for them, the kind of things you don't really need descriptors for. But not to say that the only things that we do this for are things that do need them. There are plenty of things that will give labels, identifications, and it helps us engage and interact with them. Or helps some. But in terms of actually grasping and understanding them, not particularly, not really. When was the last thing? What was the last thing you gave a label that, as if you're doing so, you better understood? I say a person. Have you ever met a person that was very good or very bad in your view, that you better grasped, that you truly did have a better suitability of them in your mind or in your heart, as of the fact that you called them evil, you called them angelic? You can call someone these things, but it doesn't really touch, what it is we want. What it is we truly want is not silence on its own. It's the silence after words are said, after a few words. That's what we're after. It's like an echo of existence itself, isn't it, when you think about it? Emanations. It's a nice looking night. The street lights. Very gentle against the night sky. I lost my train of thought, doesn't matter. I was going to say that, no, I did lose it. Damn, what was I going to say? I remember now. How interesting it is that music can just completely change everything. Music is alchemy. It's one of the purest sources of unionizing. It brings you into communion with the moment. Is what the best music does. I don't know, people, especially in the spiritual communities and occult communities, I feel like they get too caught up, some people, in the intellectual, esoteric, this and this, mastery. But what is it all worth if you can't have those moments like these where, you'll have an experience, just something you come across, and in that state of just a moment, and it will stay with you for months thereafter. You'll remember it. imagine, like, what would be the point in any of it, in learning any of it, if you never had those beautiful moments that, like, you glimpse in later emotions or in later parts of the day and nights. Just that there would be no point if you weren't to catch a glimpse again. There wouldn't be any reason to learn. Why would you learn anything? I think that's what I mean. We should do more of that. If I can't have those kinds of moments more with a person, then I don't understand what the point in being spiritual has been. What was the point of any of it? Was there even, other than just intellectualism, or even just energetic experimentation, that the point is to be alive, and that's what it means to be alive. That's what it is. This is what it is to be alive. If you don't have these moments, your soul has to speak. That's the point of spirituality. Your soul is to speak. And it has to catch its breath at something awesome. I listened to this one last year. It was one hell of a year for me. I can't talk about all of it, but there was one time I listened to this, and in a raw kind of state, in a raw kind of way. When I was a boy, my family, biological family, but relatives, took me to. I really wanted to get out more. I guess it was a complicated time. They wanted me to do more, to experience more than what was going on in my life at the time. So I was taking go-karting, and it wasn't that far from here, I don't think. And I remember going into this place, and I took a seat in the go-kart. And it was the first time I'd ever driven anything in my life. I'd never driven something with like an engine, or I hadn't even ridden a bike, I'd driven, I'd gone on a scooter, like a pedal scooter, but I've never driven something before. And I'm just a kid, and I sit in the seat, and they buckle me in, strap in my helmet, and there's that sort of undercurrent of nervousness, but your bravery and excitement is overpowering it. You're just there. You're just you're in that sort of mode of bravery. You're like, okay, this is it. And I remember watching the people drive around the tracks and thinking, like, God, I'm about to do that. It's like that same feeling you have when you're about to go down a slide as a kid. You watch all the others do it. It's like that. So we start up, and I remember being told, I think, how to accelerate. And I remember that feeling when I realised I'm driving, it's me, I'm doing it. I had my foot on the pedal. now that I think about it, it seemed familiar to me. But I was driving, and it came to me very naturally. I was pretty good at it. After a couple of times, I had a few bumps and stuff, but I just remember going around the track, and getting smoother and smoother as I went. And in there, you can hear people talking around you, or people shouting at parents and stuff. But all you would hear is, all the echoes and the lights. But what this most reminds me of is the sunset. If you've ever been to England, that's the thing, If you're someone who deeply feels things, England has its very own beautiful kind of feel. The sunset and the sky here was really nice. There was this sort of shade of blue and these stretched clouds, kind of pink and mostly orange in the sky, setting in the sky. I remember looking up at them, and I've just had another flashback thinking about that as well. Just a flash in my mind, but I don't know where it was. It's somewhere buried in my mind. Somewhere else I saw a sky like that. And there was a time, maybe I can just try and find where that was. Another thing this reminds me of is when I was young, I used to know this boy called Henry, and I didn't really get to go on stuff like road trips or do anything like that as a kid. But there's this kid called Henry I knew, and he was he came from a poorer family. He was a difficult kid. He had ADHD. He was very active, very violent, like maybe for the Americans, something like a trailer park kid. Sort of run around with his shirt off. It's pretty typical here in suburban areas. Used to eat chips and have ketchup trailed on his chin, get into fights. But a fun-loving kid. And I remember his mum. He had a mum named, we'll just call her Joe, and a brother. And the brother was very violent as well. He was like the more aggressive sort of pit bull, whereas Henry was more like a bit of an aggressive Jack Terrier. I used to go around his house and jump on this trampoline and stuff like that in his back garden. But one day they took me on a road trip, just spontaneously. They were like, "Come with us, let's just get out of here. We're gonna go somewhere cool." And they wanted to take me to this park, but I had no idea where that would be. It was far away. I still don't know where it was. It was a good trip, a few good, many miles. But I remember being in the car. It was back when I would write. I just think I was a creative kid. Sometimes I just come up with random songs and stuff like that, and they wanted me to sing a song that I had sung to Henry that I'd come up with, and they just really liked for some reason. So I remember singing it nervously in the back of this car. I just was screw it, okay, I'll go for it, and just started singing the whole thing, and they really liked it. And they all started singing it and joining in and laughing. And they were good people. Gypsies, like, family was Irish travellers as well. Not that they were themselves, but it was in their blood. And you could definitely tell, but they had it in them, like this goodness. And this just reminds me of we started driving in this little red car, and they started playing Tracy Chapman's Fast Car, you know. Fast car. And they taught. I learned the lyrics in that experience with them, and I remember singing it with them in this car. It was a really nice experience. I've never forgotten that. I've never ever forgotten that experience. First road trip in Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. Joanne was she was like, it's hard to explain. You could definitely see her maybe in her younger days with like a bandana over her head, you know. She was aggressive, like the kids, but she was also just very sort of open-hearted and very. She wasn't like a hippie, just spirited, an alcoholic, complicated person. But she was cool, you know, different, a bit different. They're cool people. I remember her. She just seemed to be having the most fun out of any of them. You know, they were like simple people, but they just their souls, like they just embraced life as they had it. So I think about that when I hear this as well, and I also think about the time. I was a little boy on vacation. I went on many vacations as a kid, all over the world really, literally. And I was in Spain. And I'll talk about the Dominican Republic after this, but I was in Spain because I was stronger. And I was on the beach. We had just gone to the shops, and I was wearing my camo shorts and my little army t-shirt, and I think I had an army bucket cap on as well, and sandals. I was in Mallorca, Spain. Santa Ponsa, I think. Yeah, I could show you exactly where if I really wanted to. I've seen it since on Google Maps. Probably went there a few times. We visited in the early 2000s. It's like our favourite holiday. And this one, we had a habit of buying things that I wanted to get, like a toy plane or a toy gun or something. And if I lost it, we had to really, really search and find it again. Even if I lost it on the beach, we'd be there hours later looking for it. But I'd gotten a little toy plane. I remember being on the beach with that. But the one memory I have is being on the beach in the shade of the palm trees, just where the stones pass. So I had to be careful as well, because you know, if you smacked your foot into those, it could really hurt you. Happened to me once. But I was on the sand, looking up at the blue sky, and it was so clear. You know, it's Spain beach, early 2000s. It was just really, really crystal clear. And I remember seeing this plane way up in the distance, way up, really far, and the contrail left behind as it's sailing through the air. And I thought to myself, then as a kid, like, I wonder where all those people are going. And you know, it's weird because that happened years ago, but in my mind, they're still there flying. And any time I go back and look again, they're still there, on their way to their destination, forever there in their age. they haven't changed a bit. They're all there, all those people. I'll never know the names of probably, but on that plane, going to where they're going right now. I just think that's beautiful, I can imagine if we're like that. Imagine if we're like that. Just forever in one beautiful moment. Even like right now, as we're sitting here doing this. In Dominican Republic, this was another one. Let me just be sure it wasn't Egypt. Maybe it was Egypt. Might have been Command. One of the two. I think it was Dominican Republic, but I was on a pirate ship for kids. It was a sort of daycare you could go to. You drop the kids at, and they'll just play on this giant. I had a literal gigantic pirate ship to just mess around on for the entire day and do whatever they wanted. So I was there, and I remember being, I went there. So I was left there to sort of play and get along, and you meet other kids. I met this girl, and I remember her name. Oh, this might actually be there. It wasn't Eleanor. Eloise? Eleanor? No, it wouldn't have been. She wasn't English. I remember where she was. My memory is really clear right now. She was talking to me where she was from. I can't remember. Maybe she did say she was from England, or she had been there. I don't remember. What did she say? But she was, I think, like a blonde or a brunette girl. And we went swimming in this pool, I remember, and around the pirate ship. I remember like rinsing out her hair onto the like patio, like the kind of stone floor in the water. Splattering on the floor. She talked to me about something. I think she might have been. Maybe she was Italian. I don't remember. I wonder if she still remembers me. I wonder if she's still somewhere out there in the world, in her flashbacks to all those years ago. I'll just suddenly pop into her head as that kid she met from England. Whoever she is. But she was a cool chick. She was very calm. She seemed cool. She was collected. And just fun. I don't know. She was just nice. She was a bit bigger than me. I think a bit older than me as well. Yeah, definitely older than me. Definitely. She was taller. And she was physically bigger as well. I was only small then. Smaller. I remember that the waters were so blue, and they had a bar in the pool. Like the whole thing was just something you swam in. You could just swim around all these different pools, and you could go up to the bar in the resort pool. In Egypt, it must have been Egypt I'm thinking of. It was so hot. Because we went around 2006, 2005 or something in Sharm el Sheikh, and it was right when the terrorist attacks had happened, so you couldn't go to the pyramids. And then you got kidnapped as well by literal terrorists, but that's maybe another story. Yes, you couldn't visit the pyramids, and remember where I was going with that. Sorry. I got lost. I don't remember. Another beautiful time was Florida. I stayed in this, it's like a friend of a friend or something like that, of someone a family knew, and he owned like a really nice house by my standards, had a swimming pool, and it was like a kind of like a villa, kind of like a pseudo villa or something like that. I think it was like an actual villa. I mean, it's hard to remember because I was so small and the place was massive to me. But he had like a big massive flat screen TV in the main lobby and in his bedroom, and there were multiple rooms, and it was like a villa kind of thing. It's a swimming pool and everything. It's really cool. And I remember, out of all of it, what I really remember is like the sense of freedom you had walking around in like this big, airy, cool house, literally cool. And I remember the taste of like this fruit punch that you guys have in his refrigerator. And I poured myself in these fancy glasses. I don't remember how hot it was, but in Florida back then. But I remember the taste. It was so sweet and fruity. Like this sort of rich fruit punch. And for some reason that crosses over with like Halo, like the game. When I was young, also here where I am now, close enough, I used to, back when these neighbours lived there who don't anymore, Brody and someone else, I can't remember his other name, another kid. But for a little bit, I used to jump over his back garden fence, because the houses was like directly adjacent to mine, like literally right there, so you could just jump over the fence, like living in like somewhere in like New York, I guess they have in like outskirts of New York. I've seen it. They might have houses a bit similar to that. But I jumped right over the fence, and I'd go and play Halo in the guy's living room on his Xbox 360, because I didn't have an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One then. I had PlayStation. I grew up with PlayStation, and I used to go and play Halo, I think 2 and 3 in his house, or watch him play it, watch him shoot all the aliens, and it was cool. Yeah, and the guy, he left after a while. I think he moved. So I don't know what happened to him either. He could be anywhere out there. But the clearest memory is definitely that sunset in the go-karting. The orange in the sky with, like spaced out, like silk spider webs across the sky over contrails. Just wonder, like, where are those people now? Like the girl from Egypt, or wherever she was. She was visiting from somewhere else, like I was. I have other memories as well. It's also there that I first learned about the game God of War. Some Spanish kids were playing it in this little get-together. Like it's an overage game, whatever. I think they were playing God of War. Was the first time I ever saw it. I think it was new around that time. Must have been. It was on the PlayStation 2. They were playing it, all sharing it together in the gaming room. They had this whole gaming room. And I remember going and seeing it, and everyone was crowded around. Everyone was so impressed and just awed by this game. And I asked the kid, I said, "What is this?" And he said, "God of War." And he just looked at me like this just amazement in his eyes. And they just looked back, everyone's just looking at the screen. And seeing Kratos throw the blades of war around, or whatever they're called. It was at the very start of the game where you're on the ship with that Leviathan. That's where he was, and everyone, I guess, was just sharing the controllers so everyone could get a go to see what it was like to play this game, and mash circle, and everyone was working together to just get past the start, and it was really nice. A little memory. Yeah, all these people all over the place. Yeah, it was guys speaking Spanish and just sort of chilling and playing. And so I went to the Isle of Wight. I was in this arcade. I remember I went with my uncle. My uncle wasn't the best person to travel with, but we don't always get along. He can be a strain. We went to the Isle of Wight together, just me and him, because I wanted to go somewhere. I wanted to, much later on, travel, and I remember going to this arcade. And by this point, I've been playing games all my life. I was good at them. I was damn good at games, let me tell you that. My uncle, he's just this old guy, he's just this, he's middle-aged. Maybe he played some games back in the day, but, different generations. Takes me into this arcade, and we're looking around for stuff to do. He's got his hand in his pockets, just kind of chilling, he's a nerd, a very big geek, sort of leaned forward, looking around, white guy, comb over hair, big glasses. And we went up to this, those machines where you shoot your way through like the haunted house? I forget what it's called. You look it up, you'll know the one. It's like a famous arcade game. They've been around since like the fucking 80s, I don't know. And we go to this one, like House of the Haunted Dead, is that it? And I'm very confident. He's like, "Do you want to play each other?" And I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, come on." And I'm thinking, I'm gonna waste this guy, This is excuse me. This is Billy the Kid versus some local huckster. You ain't from the old west, old man. Go home. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And then he absolutely fucking slaughters me at this game. He wipes the floor with my ass. This guy, his high score dwarfs mine. Like he's been sharpshooting his whole life. And then I was honestly, and I was just astounded. And I asked him, how? Like he has some ultimate answer to a question I've been wondering my whole life, and he just tells me, he just says, "I've been playing games a little bit longer than you, kid." You're thinking then, nah, whatever. Like he knows anything. I still don't know how he kicked my ass at that fucking game. I really don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did that. Props to him. He was just, I guess he's just better at those kind of games. But, if you went back in his past years ago, I guess he'd be there in those arcades shooting those targets as well. He has bit of technical skill, whatever it is. He's very, very smart, very clever with his hands kind of guy, high IQ, very smart guy. But I think what's more important is the lesson you take from it, or just at some point in his past, maybe someone did that with him. Maybe someone told him one day, I've been playing games a bit longer than you, kid. And then... So maybe, if nothing else, and just for the sake of beauty, like the unspoken kind, if I'm ever in an arcade in the future and I bump into some kid, I'll continue the tradition and just sort of move on, I'll leave that drink for the bar, so to speak. Yeah. Man, so many different things I could talk about. So many memories. Yeah, those birds. Let me go to the window. There goes my bag. It's extremely quiet outside. I might take a video and upload it with this to show you just what it's like, but it's extremely quiet. There's not a single soul, because it's almost 2:30 in the morning. Just the birds. I always used to think that they were morning birds, but I understand that if you come here early enough, and if you're quiet enough and peaceful enough, you'll hear them anytime. I guess for some people they're not actually morning birds, but for me they always will be. I wonder what it is they're saying to each other. It sounds like a really enthusiastic conversation. Can you hear? Hold on. So nice. There's a whole world that comes alive here at these late hours of the night that most are, I don't know, everyone are oblivious to. Maybe they're not. There definitely are, although I don't see them. Other people probably in these houses at night who stare out their windows or hear these noises at night. I wonder if someone's out there right now. I'm just looking around, but I don't see anyone, even though there are lights on up the street. Little yellow lights in the houses. I bet someone is somewhere. So beautiful out here, it's just calm. There's just nothing to worry about. It's just completely calm. Like the night itself feels relaxed around you. I just see a fox. He's crouched in the middle of the street, and I think he was scratching himself, and then he kept walking right after I said that, across over in the distance, in the middle of a road. It's very cold, to the point where you could definitely see your breath if you were to breathe outside. It's very wintry, and the freezing is on my hand to where I'm holding this large phone. I don't usually own phones, so it's a bit weird for me to have a oh, there goes the fox again. And the coldness is all over my fingers and my hands. It's getting number and number. Do you have any memories, whoever you are, like the ones I've mentioned? Do you get any flashbacks to things? What's that noise? That was... Okay. I just saw someone sprint up the street. It looks like someone was running from someone or something. There was a bag rustling. I wonder if he just robbed the place. That was out of nowhere. Maybe he was going for a jog, I don't know. But he was booking it, so... I have no idea. Okay. I should get a lava lamp, you know. I could get a little lava lamp and just have it dance around in my room. Of course. One of those that lights up stars on your ceiling. You know, when I was a young teenager, maybe even 11 years old, I remember it's the first time I'd ever gone onto Tumblr. And I wasn't like a frequent user or anything, even growing up. I was a very, very curious, very bright, hearted, insightful kind of person. And I came across Tumblr for the first time. And I was on, it was some girl's page. I think her name was literally I Love Chocolate Chip Cookies, but I was a very vulnerable kind of kid. I remember being on there and seeing these posts from someone from across the world, and it was one of the first times that kind of thing had ever happened for me. And she didn't really have any of her face or anything, but what really fascinated me and gave me such memories was the timeline and her posts of just outside on a cul-de-sac somewhere in America, and the sky and the stars and stuff like that. But there was one where she was out in the cul-de-sac, and I guess she was sitting in the middle of the road, and she took a picture of the frontal direction and the sky, and I think there was a Coke can or something. But I just remembered something about that picture. I really like the emotional sensitivity of that picture, like how nice it just felt. I don't think it's even online anymore, that picture. It's just in my memory now. That person has no idea I even exist. But it's just interesting, isn't it? Like how we touch each other's lives and stuff like that. I remember another time I was in Tiny Chat growing up as well, on the computer. The first time I'd ever gone into a site like that. I didn't use my webcam or anything like that. I was just a lurker mostly, or a guest. I used to talk in the chats with other people. But Tiny Chat back then was great. You would join these groups, and there'd be a lot of very lonely, sad people in there, sure, who aren't very happy. Or in that sense of meaning sad, I mean like there's not very happy people. But at certain times of night, there would just be this lightning in a bottle where they'd all come together and they would just have like the most beautiful kind of party. The most. There was this guy, there were a lot of potheads and stoners on there. You were very, very big fans of recreational hallucinogenics. There's this guy who was listening to this rapper called Psycho, the Psychotic Alien or something. Like a really little known, like a fairly underknown rapper from the 90s. Very eccentric. I learned about that rapper from that encounter. I just remember that they were all just having such a good time. They had all this music playing and they were getting high, I guess, smoking out on bongs, and it was just nice. I don't know, there was just something really nice about it. Like they it was like for a moment they all just forgot where they were and they all started laughing and they just sharing music. So that's another memory I have, I guess, from the internet. It was just stone-looking guy, long hair, Jesus beard. He was really, really passionate about this music, man. He really was. He really did care about this music. He really wanted to make clear just how important this rapper the Psychotic Alien was. How extremely underrated he was for the time. He wanted this big rant about him. It's cool. And so many emotional memories of different kinds. Like, there's so much I could tell you, or just talk into this phone. So many memories. It's what you feel that matters. It's what you feel that counts. That's what counts in the end. Never believe it's worth believing that your heart is irreparable, can't ever be fixed, it's broken and that's it. It's a ridiculous mistake. Don't do that. If anything, you should. If there's any rage against the dying of the light to really experience, it's just taking care of your heart, I know it can be a tough one for a lot of people out there, but please don't ever lose or give up on your light. There's nothing that will ever make it worth it to give up on your light. Ever. Okay, alright. I wonder if I should say one more, if I should leave it for another time. I was thinking of Starlight when I was a kid and at a disco. This kid called Sam I used to know. Long story there. It was a school disco. Everyone was a bit nervous, to really do anything. We were sort of like the outcasts or the bad kids. Well, I wasn't, but he definitely was. And I was sat there funny enough, I think with Henry. Don't worry about the other. It was Henry's brother, Chaz, Sam, and some other bad troublemaking kids. This is in nursery. It's like kindergarten for you guys if you're American. and I'm at the hall, and I think I don't know what it was. It was either everyone else had dancers. It wasn't that like you couldn't find someone to dance with necessarily. I think it was just that like everyone else was just sort of got themselves paired, and the kids that were left, it wasn't like we were like the quote unquote. I don't like splitting things or saying things like that, but we weren't. There were quite a few kids who were sort of just sitting around, but we were on a bench as well. And I remember us dancing. Yeah. We danced at this disco. I remember then, and it was in this big hall with like disco lights, or like the lights on the ceilings and stuff spinning around. And Sam, the reason why I remember he's good for me is a couple of reasons. But Sam was a good kid. Changed a lot over the years, but he's a good kid. He, when I was I would get into fights with people who tried to bully me and stuff like that in school. And Sam would come along and he helped me once and beat them up and picked me up off the ground. Just decided I was his friend, that was that. He chose me, I'm my friend. And we just got to know each other like that. And the friendship, well, it's difficult to really quantify and explain, but our friendship kind of lasted throughout the rest of our lives, in a sense. Not really, but we just sort of said it that did or does, like we'd always have each other's backs. Long story, one of those kind of deals. But anyway, this disco, the song They, They by Jem came on. So Welsh singer, beautiful voice. And I remember us dancing in this hall with it echoing everywhere and lights dazzling all of our eyes. It was a really nice experience. And I've always associated that song with that experience. So anytime I hear it, I go back there. It brings me back to earlier times when the entire world was just so emotionally intense, so beautiful. It still is, but it's just my circumstances are different these days. So beautiful. I think I'll stop. I'll just call it there. It's been almost an hour.